My name is Griselda, and I am 28 years old, and I live in the city of Elmonte. I am the sixth child out of 7 kids. Growing up, even though I really don't remember my parents were always fighting, I came from my dad always being drunk. He was very abusive to my mom. He would verbally and physically hit her.
What is a memory growing up that you remember so vividly that impacted your life?
It was one night. I was coming home from the movies. I was about 8 years old. I came from watching Monsters Inc. that night. Coming home, I had a neighbor that I was very close to, and we went to her house first before they had dropped me off. And her brother was there. He was ironing, and he said, "Oh, you guys are back." And I said, "Yeah, we just got here." And he was like, "Oh, your dad's not here." And I asked him, "Well, where is he at?" And he was like, "Your dad went to jail." And I didn't believe him because he liked to joke around a lot. And I was like, "No, you're lying." And he said, "No, your dad is in jail. He hit your sister and he went to jail." So then I didn't believe him. I went home, and when I got there, he was right. My dad wasn't home. Everybody was very silent, very quiet. And I asked my mom, "Where's my dad?" And she said, "Oh, he's not here. He'll come back." And I told her, "I already know he went to jail. Is that true?" And she had no other answer but to tell me the truth, that it was true.
So after that day of your dad going to jail, what happened next?
The next day I went to school. And that's how I knew everything started. Everything started to go bad because that was the first and last time that my parents were together. It affected me physically and mentally. I went home crying. I would go to school crying. The teacher started catching on that something was different because all I wanted to do was cry. As time went on, it wasn't that long after my parents separated, a new person came into the house and took the role of father. It was different. It was depressing. It was sad because I was used to seeing my parents every day at home in the same bed, to seeing somebody new with my mom. My mom began to date somebody else, and right away he moved in.
You mentioned depression, you mentioned anxiety. How did that affect you growing up into your teen years?
Definitely I started to be insecure about how I looked, insecure about everything. I always wanted to be around people. I always wanted to have friends because I was scared to be alone. I was truly scared to be alone. I started getting boy crazy. Boy crazy was one of the first things. I remember I met this guy. I was only 12, about to be 13. He was older, he was 19 years old, and we started being friends. And one thing led to another, and I lost my virginity. I started to drink. I started to smoke weed in high school. I entered high school, and I just went worse from there.
In the midst of everything going on in your life, all the problems, your family problems, anxiety, depression, did you ever have a clue of who God was?
I think like every other person, they believe, but they never knew who he was or had seen him. And maybe if I did, I can tell you I wouldn't recognize it. I knew God existed, I would pray, but it was more of my words than anything.
Okay, so everything's good, right? Everything's great in your life? Everything's falling into place by itself?
No. I was still that depressed, lonely girl that nobody thought was. I began to drink even more, go out with more people, and trying to lose weight. I was trying to lose weight for a good while. I started going to the gym. I was losing weight, but my stomach was still the same. And because of that, I started to get concerns. I went to the hospital one night, and ever since there, I didn't come out because they found something that wasn't been able to detect. It was something covering my organs that they couldn't see through. That night I stayed, and they told me that I had a 10 to 15 pound tumor and I needed surgery.
So they told you had cancer. What was the feeling you were going through? What were the emotions in your head? I can only imagine.
Well, since I knew the word of God, a part of me was very trustful that I was going to be okay. It wasn't until I had a doctor's appointment where they decided that I needed chemotherapy. And that's where that was just my breakthrough right there. It was my full, I needed to change. I needed to give my life to God. Something needed to change. I couldn't continue to be the same way I was.
Did you talk to anybody after this whole incident happened?
I did. I talked to my mom, and it was really hard because she wanted to put God in the middle of it. She wanted me to come to church, but at the same time, being bombarded with the thoughts, being bombarded with, am I gonna have chemotherapy? Am I gonna support it? Am I gonna be okay? You know, I just didn't want to listen. I didn't want nothing to do with anybody. I didn't want to hear what the doctors had to say because it was just negativity through the time. And I came to church that night. I came to church. I baptized myself that night. I spoke to the pastor and I wanted to baptize myself. And I started coming more.
So how's your health? Where's the cancer?
There was no cancer anymore. I went to the altar. I went to God and I told God, I want to serve you. I'm willing to give my life. I'm willing to let go of everything that I have to let go. And I want to be cured. Thank God he heard my prayer. I'm here. I didn't need the chemotherapy. I didn't need everything that they wanted to give me, the medication. You know, I'm here. I'm healthy. I am living life without any medication, without anything. I survive on Jesus.
There's a breakthrough moment that you mentioned. Who is the new Griselda? Who do we see now? Who's here standing in front of me?
Oh, the complete opposite. I remember being so lonely, so obsessed with myself, with wanting to be the best, with wanting to be better than everybody, wanting to be just loved and wanted, you know, and coming to church, going through the situation just made me humble myself, coming closer to God, realizing that truly without God, I am nothing, that I have nothing. My happiness, my health, everything depends on Him. You know, I came from being somebody who pretty much had no future to wanting to live, you know, wanting to help others, help those who probably are going through the same situation or, you know, worse, you know, wanting to help them to get to know God.
What do you say to those people that are going through the same situations that you're going through, or probably even worse? What is your advice to them?
Stop fighting God. Stop fighting God. Stop fighting the voice inside of your head that's telling you not to when He's telling you to come. You know, because you suffer more by ignoring Him. And you truly receive that change when you decide to take that step.